In today's video, 3 awesome arpeggios you can play over dominant chords. Enjoy. How's it going? Dave here. My channel is all about helping you create awesome neo-soul and R&B sounds on your guitar. If that sounds like your kind of thing and you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and you click that notification bell so that you're notified every single time I release a new video. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about arpeggios you can use over dominant chords. This is the second video in a series I am doing on arpeggios. So if you haven't checked out the first video, I'll leave a link in the description and a link up there for you to check out either before this or after this video. It doesn't really matter. So let's jump straight into it. We're going to be playing 3 licks that you just heard in that intro, and we're playing over a 2-5-1 in the key of C. So we're playing D minor 9, we're playing G7, although that does change in one of these licks, and then we're playing C major 7. Obviously, the dominant chord is this G7 here, and that's what we're going to be focusing on with our arpeggios today. So the first arpeggio you can use is a dominant 9 arpeggio. So let's take a look at this dominant 9 arpeggio. It's really, really useful. So we're playing a G7, so we're going to play a G9 arpeggio. Okay, so this is how you play it. 3 on the low E, 2 and 5 on the A, 3 on the D, 2, 4 on the G, 3 on the B, and 1, 5 on the high E. Okay, so that's the 6-string version of it. Let's take a look at a 5-string version. So we're going to play 10 on the A string, then we're going to play 9, 12 on the D string, then we're going to play 10, 14 on the G string, then we're going to play 12, 15 on the B string, and then 13, 17 on the high E string. Take a listen to the first lick. What I'm doing is I'm just playing in the key of C major, and then when I hit that G7 chord, I'm playing a G9 arpeggio. Alright, so the second arpeggio we can use is the diminished 7th arpeggio. Now this one's a really interesting one. We're going to play the diminished 7th starting at the 3rd of our G7 chord. So our G7 chord contains the notes G, B, D and F. The 3rd is B. So we're going to start our diminished 7th arpeggio on a B. So let's take a look at how to play a B diminished 7th arpeggio. So we're going to start on the 7th fret of the low E string. We're going to play 7, 10. And all we're going to do for the next 3 strings is play that exact same thing a fret higher each string. So we're going to play 7, 10, then 8, 11, then 9, 12, then 10, 13. Okay? Then we're going to play 12 on the B string, and then we're going to play 10, 13 on the high E string. I like to kind of just use the top 3 strings really. Okay, you can use the entire thing if you want. Now the really cool thing with diminished 7th arpeggios is if you move them down a minor 3rd, you get the exact same notes just in a different inversion. And the same thing if you move it up a minor 3rd, you get the same notes but in a different inversion. And you can do this until you run out of fretboard space. So now the reason this works over a dominant 7th chord is because the first 3 notes of our diminished 7th chord are the 3rd, 5th and flat 7th that are contained within the dominant 7th chord, and then that double flat 7 in our diminished 7th chord creates a flat 9 in relation to our dominant 7th chord. So we get sort of a dominant 7 flat 9 chord. Now this is what's known as an altered chord. If you don't know what altered dominant chords are, then you can check out my video on altered dominant chords. They'll really jazz up your playing. But that's basically what we're doing. We're giving the G7 a G7 flat 9 sort of vibe. Okay, so take a listen to the lick. Now the final arpeggio we're going to be using over this dominant 7th chord is an augmented arpeggio. Now, an augmented arpeggio contains a root, a third, and a sharp fifth. Compare that to the dominant seventh chord that contains a root, a third, and a fifth, a perfect fifth. That sharp fifth and the perfect fifth are going to clash. So what we can do is either in our dominant seventh chord, we omit the fifth, or we play a dominant seventh chord with a sharp five. That sounds a bit like this. Okay, I like adding the sharp fifth to the dominant seventh chord because it sounds nice and jazzy. So either way, it's going to work. So we're playing a G7 chord, so we're going to play a G augmented arpeggio over the top. Now, unfortunately, I don't have enough space down here, so we're going to play up here. We're going to play 15 on the low E, 14 on the A, 13 on the D, 12 on the G and B, and 11 on the high E. Okay? So that's your augmented arpeggio. The diminished seventh arpeggio was a symmetrical arpeggio because we could move it a certain amount each time and get the same arpeggio, just a different inversion. And you can do the same thing with an augmented arpeggio as well. The only thing is we're not moving in minor thirds, we're moving in major thirds, so 4 frets at a time. So if I moved it down 4 frets, I've got the same arpeggio, just in a different inversion. And again, okay, and I can ascend, and we've got all of those notes available to us to play over our G7 without a fifth, or G7 with the sharp fifth. Take a listen to the lick where I'm playing a G augmented arpeggio over the G7 chord. So those are the 3 arpeggios you can use over dominant chords. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a lot. If you did, let me know what you thought in the comments. Tag me on Instagram in any videos that you make using tips from my videos. I'm at David Lovejoy. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you click like and subscribe to my channel. Now, if you want to learn how to write really awesome chord progressions, the first 2 chapters of my book, Chord Charisma, are down in the description for free. And those first 2 chapters are going to show you how to write a basic chord progression, and then from there, build it into something more sophisticated using extensions like 9ths, 11ths, and 13ths. And you'll create really awesome, sophisticated sounding chord progressions. So definitely check that out. That's free. If you don't want to check it out, or you've already checked it out, then make sure you check out this video here because you're going to learn a lot more. And I'll see you there. Have a good one.